So we've got to get to the Arteta Conte stuff, partly because I'm slightly responsible, which I'll explain in a minute. So Arteta, he came into the press conference. We got to see someone played out loud on one of their laptops his Sky interview afterwards, and poor Jeff Shreves was just like, "Okay, we're not getting anywhere with this," because he was seething clearly with what had happened from the officials, but was refusing to say anything because he didn't want to be banned from the next match. And he came into the press conference pretty much exactly the same. He was in there for barely, you heard me saying about Conte was probably in there for about half an hour in all, albeit to do another press conference as well. But Arteta maybe 3-4 minutes at the most, and all of it was like that. It was all, I can't speak on this because I'll get suspended. I can't. The only thing he kind of did say was, this beautiful occasion was destroyed, and unfortunately we could not play the game we wanted to play. So that, for me, this beautiful occasion was destroyed. It doesn't talk about the penalty. The penalty, like I say, was the one that maybe they could have a little argument if they felt it was a bit soft. But that doesn't destroy an occasion. The only thing that destroys an occasion is a red card. So, especially at that point in the game, I don't get it. I don't get what his beef is with the red card. It was probably the most obvious. Like I say, there were probably 4 incidents where Holding could have got a yellow card. I didn't get it. I didn't understand where he was coming from with that. Maybe it's a defence mechanism to not blame the player, perhaps. I don't know. Because he kept saying how proud he was of his players. Maybe because of the stakes of it, the North London derby element to it. Maybe it was trying to put on a bit of a front. I just felt the player lost his head. I didn't get it. And so the reason I'm a little bit responsible for what came next was because I asked Conte the question. So I initially, it's almost his fault in a way, because I asked him initially, what did you think of the performance and also the red card, which is a classic journalist mistake you shouldn't do with a manager who's asked 2 questions in one, because they will only answer one of them. So Conte only answered the performance side of it. So I followed up and said, but about the red card, Antonio, and I said, we've just had Mikel Arteta in here. He hasn't said much because he was worried about getting suspended, but you could tell he was very upset at the officials' decisions. I essentially sparked Antonio Conte into, I'm absolutely going to slap down Mikel Arteta mode. So if you haven't seen the quotes, here's what he said back to me. I think that Mikel Arteta is a really good coach. He's being a really good coach. He's just started to do this job, and I think that I hear him complain a lot. I think that he needs to be focused more on his team and not to complain, because he has just started his work, and I think he has to be calm and try to continue to work, because he's very good. But to listen to a coach complain a lot of the time is not good. But it's okay. The red card for me, it was clear. Don't forget, against Liverpool, I said nothing with what happened with Fabinho a lot of times. Because if we want to complain, we have the possibility every game to speak about the referee, about the decisions, about the postponed game. I think this is the advice. If you want to accept the advice, if you don't, I don't care. If you remember, he complained about the fixture. It's not good to complain. Arsenal were good to postpone in a game in an incredible way with COVID, and they only had 1 player with COVID. I didn't forget this. If he wants to complain, we have a lot of possibilities to complain. Now today I can complain about why I have to play on Sunday at 12 p.m, and Arsenal has to play on Monday night, and they have 1 day more rest. We played against Leicester, Liverpool, Arsenal, and now after only 2 days we have to play, and we have to play the first game at 12 p.m. So that was my fault. I made Conte go off on that rant, but it was an accurately observed rant for me. Arteta, it was very. I think a lot of people are what when he was complaining about the fixtures that Arsenal had when Arsenal probably had the least fixtures to worry about this season because they weren't in European competition. And like I say, Spurs and Antonio Conte especially never forgot that postponement in January. They really didn't. And then, this was Conte in full slapdown mode. And I'm intrigued to see. I don't know whether Arteta's had his press conference today and how he's reacted to that or not. but I won't imagine he'll be happy. But it was really, Conte was properly intense in it. He properly looks me back in the eyes when he answers my questions. He's very good at it. He's not one of these that kind of looks around. He does properly. But he's also started this new trend of when someone else asks him a question, he'll start replying to them, and then halfway through his answer, he'll look back to me and start kind of doing an eye-to-eye thing, which is, I don't know if it's good or bad. For me, professionally, often in the press conferences, I'm typing away, trying to type into like a live blog so people can see the quotes in a press conference. But when the manager of the football club you're covering is talking to you right like this, looking right into your eyes, you're kind of like, I can't look down now and type because that seems rude, even though it wasn't my question. Why are you now looking at me? And that seems to be the thing he does, and it kind of makes me chuckle inside, but I can't laugh, especially when he's making a really serious point. But yeah, maybe look out for that. It might be interesting to see because you obviously don't see us, but you'll see them doing their press conferences, and you might see him answer a question from over there, perhaps, and then you'll just see him look down. I'm normally kind of quite central, maybe just off to the right, and you'll see him just look down at me randomly and start to go, I don't know why. Maybe he's just decided, this bloke's here all the time. I'll just talk to him about it. But it is weird. And actually, a question some people often ask me is like, why can we not hear the journalists' questions? Because quite frankly, we don't have microphones. Only for Champions League games. Sometimes they would give you a microphone to hold as you're asking your question. But on the whole, it doesn't work like that. The only microphone is right at the front with Antonio Conte. So that's why, really. Nobody cares really what we have to say. It's more about what the manager is saying in response, to be honest.